I didn't notice anything wrong at first. Pause. That's usually how it starts, with normal silence, normal rooms, normal nights. I moved into the apartment because it was cheap. Too cheap, honestly, but I didn't question it. At that point, I couldn't afford to. The building looked old but not abandoned, just tired, like it had been lived in too long, and forgot what new means. My apartment was on the 3rd floor. Above me, the 4th. And above that, the 5th. The top one. That was the one I was told to ignore. The landlord mentioned it casually, like it didn't matter. There's nothing up there. Not no tenants, not empty, just nothing. I remember thinking that was a strange way to put it, but I didn't push. The first 2 nights were normal. I unpacked a few boxes, ordered food, watched TV just to fill the silence. The building was quiet in a normal way during the day, but at night it changed. At exactly 2:17 a.m., something started happening. At first it was faint, a low vibration through the ceiling, like someone dragging something heavy across a wooden floor. I assumed it was the neighbors above. Old building, thin walls, normal explanation. But then, the sound became clearer. A chair scraping, slow, deliberate. Then footsteps, heavy ones. Not running, not fast, just pacing, back and forth, like someone thinking. I remember lying in bed staring at the ceiling, trying to ignore it. But the more I listened, the more precise it sounded. It wasn't random noise. It had structure, a pattern. Then came the first moment that made me uncomfortable. A table dragging, slowly, across the floor above me. The sound moved from one side of my room to the other, perfectly straight, like someone was rearranging the entire room. At 2:17 a.m. every night. I told myself it was just an old tenant schedule, maybe a night worker, maybe someone with insomnia. But then I made a mistake. I asked my neighbor on the 2nd floor. He stopped talking the moment I mentioned the top apartment, just looked at me for a few seconds, and said, "Don't listen to that floor." Then he went inside and closed the door. Hard. That was the first time I stopped thinking it was normal. And that night, I waited. Not for sleep, for 2:17 a.m. I didn't sleep that night. I just waited, watching the ceiling, like it could answer me if I stared long enough. Everything in the apartment felt louder than usual. The fridge, the pipes, even my own breathing. And then, 2:16 a.m., I sat up in bed. Not because I wanted to, because I felt like I had to, like something was expecting me to be awake. 2:17 a.m. It started. A chair moved above me, slow, controlled, like someone sitting down carefully. Then footsteps, not random, same pattern as before, back and forth, back and forth. But tonight, it was louder, closer, like the ceiling wasn't there anymore. Then something new happened. A sound I didn't recognize. A cabinet opening, then closing, then dragging again. But this time, it followed a rhythm. I sat there listening, trying to make sense of it, because it didn't feel like noise anymore. It felt like activity, like someone was working, living. But no one lived up there. That's what the landlord said. That's what everyone said. Then I heard something that made me freeze. My chair, the one I was sitting on, moved. Not physically, not in my room, above me. A chair scraped at the exact same time I shifted slightly. I stopped breathing. Nothing above stopped. It kept going. I slowly lifted my hand. The moment I did, a drawer opened upstairs, exactly at the same time. My stomach dropped, because it wasn't random anymore. It was reacting to me. I stood up slowly. My floor creaked above me. The same creak repeated, identical. I took one step toward the kitchen. Above me, a step. Same timing, same weight. I stopped completely. Silence upstairs, for the first time. I thought maybe it stopped. Maybe it was over. Then, a chair scraped again. But this time, it wasn't moving randomly. It was pulling closer to the center of the room above me, directly above my bed. I went back to the bedroom, slowly, careful not to move too much, but every movement I made was mirrored, perfectly. Then I noticed something I didn't before. The sound upstairs wasn't just copying me, it was slightly delayed. Half a second, maybe less, but enough to feel wrong, like it was learning me, adapting. And then, for the first time, I heard something that wasn't movement. A single knock, not random, not echo, direct, intentional. Then silence, complete, heavy, unnatural silence. And in that silence, I realized something. The apartment above me wasn't empty. It was watching. I didn't move for a while. Not even a breath. Like if I stayed still enough, it would forget about me. But it didn't. The silence above wasn't empty. It was waiting. Then it started again. Slowly, carefully. Like it was testing whether I was still there. A chair scraped. But this time, it wasn't random movement. It felt focused, directed, like it was circling something. Then footsteps. But wrong, because they didn't match my earlier position anymore. They were slightly ahead of me, like it already knew what I was going to do next. I stepped toward the hallway. Slowly, above me, a step. Same moment. No delay. That's when I realized something changed. The delay was gone. It had synced. Perfectly. I stopped again. Above me. It stopped too. Then a sound I hadn't heard before. Something heavy dropped onto the floor. Not random. Not accidental. Intentional. Like it was answering me. I backed away slowly into the kitchen. Every step I took was mirrored above. No delay now. Perfect synchronization. I whispered to myself, "No, this isn't possible." And upstairs, something repeated it. Not loud, not clear, but enough to understand. It was copying speech now. I froze, because that meant one thing. It wasn't just copying movement anymore. It was copying behavior, learning, adapting. Then I heard something that made my skin go cold. A chair scraped. Slowly. Then stopped. Right above my head. And stayed there. No movement. No sound. Just presence. Like something was sitting directly above me. Watching. Waiting. I looked at the ceiling. My breathing got heavier. And then, it happened. A sound I didn't expect. My phone vibration. But I wasn't holding it. It was coming from upstairs. The exact same ringtone I had. The exact same vibration pattern. I slowly stepped back. And upstairs, the chair moved again. Slowly turning. Like it was facing the floor. facing me. Then something happened that broke the pattern completely. A knock, then another, then a third, always three. I backed away into the corner of my room, and then I heard it, not movement, not furniture. A voice, very faint, not from outside, from above. It said my name. I didn't answer. I couldn't. And upstairs, the chair slowly scraped again, but this time, it wasn't random anymore. It was moving toward the edge of the room, directly above the hallway, above the stairs, above where I would have to go if I wanted to run. And in that moment, I understood. It wasn't in the apartment above me. It was learning the apartment below. Me. I didn't run, because I realized something worse. Running would still be a reaction, and it was watching reactions. The apartment was completely silent now. No footsteps, no furniture, nothing. For the first time, I thought maybe it was gone. I was wrong. At exactly 2:17 a.m., the ceiling made a sound. Not movement, not dragging. A single, slow, settling noise, like something heavy had finally sat down and stopped hiding. And then, it spoke again. But this time, it wasn't just my name. It was my entire sentence. The one I had said earlier. My exact words. But wrong. Slightly wrong. Like someone had learned them, but never fully understood them. I stepped back. Slowly. Above me. A chair scraped, but it wasn't pacing anymore. It was positioning. Directly above the exit door, blocking it. I went to the hallway anyway, because I needed to confirm it. Every step I took was perfectly mirrored above me. No delay, no error. It knew me completely now. I stood under the hallway light, looking at the ceiling, and I said nothing, for the first time. Above me, silence. Then, a knock, then another, then a third, and then, the ceiling cracked sound, not breaking, not collapsing, opening. I didn't see it at first, because the lights flickered. But when they came back, there was something there. Not fully visible, not fully formed, but present. Right above me. Looking down. From the apartment that was supposed to be empty for 8 years. And it finally did something new. It stepped forward. But there was no floor above. At least, not anymore. Then I understood the final rule. It was never copying me. It was replacing me. Slowly. Perfectly. And now it was close enough to finish the pattern. One last movement. I took a step back. Above me. It stepped forward. Perfect sync. No delay. No difference. And then it stopped. Completely. Silence. For a few seconds. Then the last sound I ever heard from that apartment. My own voice. From above. Saying, I moved into the apartment because it was cheap. I didn't speak, but it did. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. It wasn't living above me. It was finishing me. One repetition at a time. The lights went out, and for the first time, the apartment above stopped copying me, because there was nothing left original to copy. End.